Recorded live on the turf at Mad Lab Training Studio in Eldersburg, Maryland. This is the Time to Win podcast with Alex and Dan. Now let's get this podcast started.
So it reminds me of a podcast episode, Once Upon a Time, Dan, that...
The fan or the...
No, just like today, right? Like I sent you a picture, and I don't know if you've seen the picture that I sent you. I think I sent you a picture.
Oh, you did? You sent a picture of some food.
Yeah.
I only saw the preview real quick. Because a lot of stuff coming through the phone today. And I had a lot of appointments, so I missed.
So, what I said was, basically, if you want smoked brisket for dinner tomorrow night, you got to start now. Okay? And that reminds me of a podcast episode, right? Like, what are you having for dinner, Dan?
I believe that was the first podcast.
It was, right? We talked about, get the idea in your mind and start building on, the plan. Like, you can't just, you don't just wake up one morning and go, I just feel it today. I'm going to squat 400. You have to kind of say, okay, I want to squat 400, and I'm ready to start working towards
Unless
it.
you have squatted 395.
Yeah. Okay. Right. But
yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, you have to put some prep work into it. So, my son is coming over. My son and my daughter-in-law are coming over for dinner tomorrow night, and I had this.
When are you leaving? When are you leaving?
Saturday morning.
Okay, so they're coming tomorrow night.
Right.
You got an eventful week?
Dan, I don't like to be idle. I like to be filled with intent, right?
Filled with intent.
And intent usually turns into action if you give it a little time, right? So I like to be filled with intent, and I had this brisket in the freezer. And when I was telling Wes about it, you guys should come over. I've got a brisket in the freezer. It's like this big around, and it's not. I pulled it out of the freezer, and it's more like that big around.
It's still a big brisket.
It's a 4-pounder, right?
Yeah.
I trimmed it up, and it's a 4-pounder after trimming, right? So there's enough food for 4 people. Okay, it's going to be awesome.
For sure.
So anyway, that thing I got it all rubbed down. I got it trimmed up. I rubbed it down after my smoking workout at the lab today.
Is brisket a cut of meat, or is it a type of meat? It's a cut.
It's a cut, yeah.
What cut is it?
It's the brisket. I don't know what else to say. I don't know the answer.
From the basket?
No. It's the brisket. It's from the cow. I don't know. That's
I do imagine it is from the cow.
Yeah, I don't know if there's such thing as a pork brisket or a chicken brisket or something like that.
Well, I do love brisket.
Yeah,
brisket's one of my favorite meat
Yeah.
combinations of
Right,
whatever.
like some people go gaga over ribs, and some
I
people
love ribs.
Yeah, I do too. Some people freak out over pulled chicken or pulled pork.
I like that okay, not as much as the former two.
But I'm a brisket guy. I like the brisket the best. Yeah.
How do you do it?
Well, okay. So true confessions, right? I don't know. I've never done a brisket before.
I just fry it up.
What?
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Don't kill me.
What?
I don't do that.
You heretic.
You mad me. You serial killer.
Yeah, you axe murderer. Yeah, you called the baby Jesus ugly and everything. It was awful.
Yeah, I would not do that. I don't know if I've. Oddly, I don't know if I've cooked a brisket.
Well, I know I haven't. I've done ribs before, and so it's a process. You
definitely done ribs.
Right, and so what I'm thinking is, it's in the fridge right now resting. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's just I did the rub, and now it's just sitting in there, and it's kind of drying out a little bit, I guess. I don't know. Tomorrow morning, about 9 o'clock, I'll throw it in the smoker, okay?
What kind of smoker you got?
I got one of those eggs, the big green egg, the acorn, whatever.
Yeah. You like it?
It's okay. I like one that...
Wait, why is it okay and not I love this thing?
Yeah, because I grew up with a Weber, right? Charcoal Weber, the basic, right? And I like that because half the time I was cooking, I didn't even have a lid on.
Yeah.
And I could see what I was doing, right? Mm-hmm. With these Kamado style, they're like an oven practically.
Yeah.
Except you got live fire in it. And, it's kind of one of these things, the more you look at it, the less it does, right? Like you have to, like it holds in a ton of heat.
Yeah, so you don't want to open it.
And so you open it, it lets a bunch of heat out, and it lets moisture out. And so, like, I'm just not accustomed to cooking that way.
It kind of takes away from the experience.
You know, that's...
You're getting away from grilling and getting into baking.
Yeah, I never thought of it that way,
Yeah.
Dan, but I think you got a good point there. I do.
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue. So, you know, it does okay.
Less George Foreman, more Sarah Lee. That's what we're...
Wow. Okay.
I'm just
Okay.
thinking of a good...
No,
really
you got it. It's a good picture, and I can go with that. So, yeah, I don't know. What are we doing today? What are we talking about? Are we taking like?
I think Mike has some questions he's going to ask us because now my curiosity is really amped. You guys both got it amped all over the place.
Yeah.
But I know Mike has some questions.
I have 10 topics that you can pick from.
Why don't you pick and just really throw us? Right.
Yeah.
Just start somewhere and
Yeah,
start.
say topic
just
is-
pepper us with questions.
Some
right?
is serious, some is not.
right.
I don't think we're afraid of the truth.
Well, some of us are serious, some of us are not.
Okay, well, let's go with...
Of the four of us.
We'll
over
go with
here.
the serious one first, and then you guys can figure it out. Is it ever justifiable to prioritize the needs of the many over the needs of the few? And if so, under what circumstances?
Man, you did not pull punches here.
Okay.
That's serious.
That's.
But we have some lighthearted ones, too.
Well, I would say that. So I think that the big argument and where this starts to get really screwed up, and it's a really tough call, because I think when you think about if you look at it just the way it's worded, it's really easy, right? You go, well, the needs of the many.
Mm-hmm.
However, the needs of the few that usually skew this is when somebody is looking at family, right? Friends and family versus the needs of a society. And is it better to push your family forward, or is it better to push society forward? I think that's where things get murky and very difficult.
Yeah. So the first time I ever heard this one was like a great movie back. It's probably back in the '80s, right? It was the second Star Trek movie. It's called The Wrath of Khan.
The Wrath of Khan.
And Spock, one of my favorite characters in all of, I don't know, literature, movies, whatever, right? Spock. He says the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, or the one. Right, and that's a theme going through the movie. And you know, at the end of the movie, Spock sacrifices himself for the needs of the many. And as he's dying, he reminds Kirk of this, that this is a sacrifice that he's willing to make, because through his sacrifice, he's helping millions, billions of people. Right, and that's a noble sacrifice, right? But it's an extreme circumstance. And you know, I'm the kind of guy, Dan. Like, okay, sure. There's going to be a scenario out there that fits that model, right?
Right.
But there's going to be a scenario out there that fits the other model too, right? You can make one up. You can cull one from life experience. But I would say both of those examples are going to represent like extreme ends of the spectrum. And I think it's a digital question that gets an analog answer, right? You know, do the ends justify the means? Yes or no, right? I refuse to answer that question. I say, you got to give me some more data. Help me understand. Let's work on figuring out something that is going to be good for everyone, including the few or the one, right? Now, this is tricky, right? Because, like, have you ever...
very tricky.
Yeah, right. Like, have you ever operated in an environment where decisions were made by consensus, right?
Yes. I think we all have.
Yeah, and it sucks because nobody gets what they want. Nobody gets what they want. Everybody gets what they need.
Kind of the way our politics work. Somebody introduces a bill that people are like, oh, this is great. And other people are like, oh, I hate this. They're like, oh, let's do a compromise. They compromise pieces of it, and then they look at it, and they're like, everybody hates it.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
So I don't know. Like, and sometimes the needs, people confuse their needs with their wants, right? Like, you know, I want brisket for dinner, and you know, there's an awful lot of people in the world that are like, really, you have a choice? Like, I don't even get dinner today. You
Do
know?
you think
that's like needs and wants? And
do you
I think
that's the
tricky.
root of this question, where you have to establish the old Maslow's pyramid hierarchy of needs and
Maybe.
go, let's break this down first, and if any one of these is missing, then we need to take care of that.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll pivot on that one, right? Let's say preservation of life is pretty basic in Maslow, right?
Yeah.
You want to before you start working on self-actualization, you want to
Yeah.
make sure you're going to live till tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair, right? So I think about public health, for example, right? Like the epidemiologists out there they're people too, right? And they have families and they have jobs and lives and stuff.
Sure.
But from a professional standpoint, they are remarkably unconcerned about whether an individual lives or dies. They're looking at populations, right? Public health, right? So, let's talk about COVID in that context. The needs of the many were, we've got a pandemic we do not understand, and we don't know why it's happening. We don't know what causes it, where it comes from, how it's transmitted. We just know a lot of people are dying really, really fast. And we're going to take some extreme measures and we're going to enforce them. And I'm sorry if this infringes on your personal liberties, but your personal liberties do not count right now in the face of a public health crisis. Right? Now, I'm not picking sides. I'm just trying to say this, I believe, was the thought process that went on with public health policymakers and with epidemiologists when COVID was just breaking loose, right? And I think that's a pretty good example of where I don't care what your needs or wants are. We've got a public health crisis. Or, you could say we've got a war going on, right?
And then you did see it break down into not the needs of the many.
Yeah.
Because then you have like certain sectors and businesses that were highlighted where you're like, oh, no, this is okay.
Right.
But this is not. This is okay. But yeah, I agree with you. I think the initial, that's actually a very good example.
Well, okay. Let me give you a different example, all right? I'm driving down the road the other day, and I'm minding my own business. I'm trying to be a good citizen. I'm only driving slightly over the speed limit.
All
I'm
right.
staying in the lanes. I'm using my blinkers, and some guy appears out of nowhere right on my bumper, right? And swerves and goes in front of me and, lane dives in a really, really tiny gap in traffic, like not what I would consider safe.
Yeah.
And okay, and it proceeded to do this over and over again as I watched him fade into the distance ahead of me. Maybe it was a she, I don't know. And I thought, hey, wow, that person's safety is depending on everybody else driving in a safe and predictable manner, right? That person is an agent of chaos out there and taking their own life into their hands. And I don't know, have you ever seen a lane
I
diver
have.
actually get in a crash?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I've seen a couple things like that happen. None that I look like that it was like super
Yeah.
catastrophic, but
It's certainly something that would ruin a person's day.
yeah,
Maybe they're
For-
ruining their
oh,
life.
for
but
sure.
they definitely
And
ruin
yeah.
their day. And so, okay, right. Do you have the right to do that? Yeah, I guess so. And yeah, I guess what I would say is, like, when we go back to the question that Mike posed, I think to me it comes down to like maybe a matter of like freedom, right?
Yes.
And here's the thing though. I think a lot of people confuse freedom of choice with freedom from consequence, right?
I do agree with you. In that scenario, though, I think you have two different people that are serving the needs of the few. Because a lot of times, and this is not everyone, because you do have lane divers that'll lane dive no matter what. But you also have people that decide in 2-lane traffic that they'll be in the left lane and they're more comfortable in the left lane, so they don't give a shit about anybody else, and they'll stay there. And so they're not
Right.
serving the needs of the many by being there. They should be in the right-hand lane.
Yeah.
Also, in a single-leg road, if somebody is coming up quick to somebody, I always, if I'm like, oh, that person is in a hurry, it's super easy when I see like a right turn lane. I won't even slow down. I'll slide over to the right turn lane. They'll speed past, and I'll slide back over.
I do it all the time.
Yeah, it's super easy.
Right.
But other people don't, because I think that they're like, I deserve to be here. This is where I'll be. Now, on the other side of things, you will have, no matter what you do, you're going to have other people that are nuts, and they are going to lane dive, and they're going to do crazy shit on the road because sometimes I'm not sure why. I don't know if that's what they feel like doing, or they're mad, or whatever. And they are certainly self-serving, but I think that one can go both ways.
Yeah.
Is my only point.
So I guess to like I can't make up a solid rule. I'm gonna punt on this one, producer Mike. I'm gonna say I don't know the answer. I think it's context dependent. I want to ask. I want specifics. I want more information.
I think it is context dependent, but unfortunately, I do think that the needs of the many are overall more important because I'm a results guy. I look at what like should be the result. And like we've talked about in past episodes, I'm like, well, what should be happening to further the human race? And if that is what it is, I'm not saying I could make the decision all the time at all. In any way am I saying that. I'm just saying technically what should happen. So I guess I'm semi-punting. Drop kick.
I think we
Next question.
Yeah, next question. Next question. Let's get the hell out of there.
Well, yeah, we have an answer on that one. Okay, a little lighthearted. If you could have dinner with any fictional character, who would it be?
Oh, man.
And why? And what would you serve? Not brisket,
Wait a minute. Why not?
because you've been talking about that.
I'm gonna sit down with Stitch from Lilo and Stitch.
Wow.
Because Stitch is an agent of chaos, and if I want to be entertained, I'm going to sit with him, and we're going to eat ribs because I know that he's going to be ripping off meat off the bone. Those bones are going to be flying. He's going to have meat inside him. He's going to be all crazy. He's going to be ready to go. And then I'm going to see where the night takes us. I think I'm going to have a jug of rum with us as well. Wow. And we'll see if the universe survives. And that goes completely against the last question.
I'll say, man, you're definitely serving the needs of the few or the one on that. But
Surprise!
That was the question.
Surprise!
That was the question.
That's a setup. That's what it is. Mikey set me up.
Wow. Like, that's so hard for me to answer.
How would it not be Spock?
Okay, I mean, it could be Spock, but I'm like, is that really going to be a fun dinner? It's going to be pretty serious. Like,
But sometimes you can have serious conversations to be entertained.
you know who might be fun to have dinner with would be like not Spock, but Kirk.
I don't
Right,
know a lot
Captain-
about Star. I know Captain Kirk and I know
Yeah,
Spock.
yeah.
But I don't know them personality-wise. Why would Kirk be fun?
Yeah, well, because he's a bit of a raconteur, right? He's a live wire.
Okay.
He's an unconventional fellow, but he's also a person that's got a lot of responsibility. He's always making out with hot alien chicks. He seems to enjoy
God bless him.
Romulan ale. He pals around with Spock, and he loves to riff off Spock's apparent lack of humor. So Kirk he's smart, he's well read, he's accomplished, he's got a great sense of humor, he's cool, he does cool stuff, he keeps his head in crisis, he thrives on chaos, but he creates order out of chaos. And because he's a captain and then later an admiral of Starfleet, he's probably getting good food and drink on the table, right?
That is a hell of an answer.
I think I'm going with. I'll go with Kirk. And I can think of like when Mike first posed the question, I was thinking of all the characters I would not want to have dinner with.
Who's one like you definitely would not want to have dinner?
Jean Valjean
Who the hell is that?
from Les Miserables, the character in Les Miserables, the main character.
Oh, the main character. Okay,
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
And wow,
I saw that in the theater.
Yeah, it's a great book.
What a
by the way.
cultured boy I am.
It's a great book too, man. If you get a chance to sit down, if you got 6 months to kill, sit down with Les Mis and read that book. It's a great book. But I thought about it. I'm like, no, Jean Valjean is like he has no sense of humor. He is all duty.
He does
all the
seem
time.
miserable the whole entire thing.
Yeah, but he's helping other people. So, but I wouldn't want to have dinner with him. I'd love to have him in my corner, but not as my wingman. Maybe even as my wingman, but not as my pal. Right? Okay. Anyway,
I'm trying to
that's
think
a-
of who I would not want to have. Who I would not have wanted to have dinner with.
How about in real life?
In real life, You know who because can it be like, can they be dead?
Yeah.
Or like not able to.
Non-fictional character.
I want in his prime.
Yeah.
I wanted to have, if I could sit down and have dinner with Muhammad Ali.
Damn.
That would be amazing.
Damn. I was going to say Obama.
That would be interesting.
He'd
too.
be a super interesting dude to sit with.
Is there anything specific you would ask him?
Yeah, I'd say, hey, do you want to open another bottle? Right? I think I just
Just
be
get him
like,
drunk and let him start wagging the
no,
tongue.
like because
Give us some state secrets.
Like no, no, like hey B, did you ever see that movie National Treasure? Is that true?
I mean, I'd try to get the tongue flapping.
Yeah.
And in this scenario,
I think he seems pretty cool. You know, like he's seen stuff and met people that we will never have a chance to do.
Probably
So,
not as many
yeah.
people that we wouldn't know as Captain Kirk, though.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, that's it. Does producer Mike have a voice on this show? Does he get to answer?
No.
No. Okay.
What celebrity would you sit down with? Michael Strahan?
So the next one will be a serious question. If I actually hit the button.
It popped for a second.
Something
there.
popped up.
Yeah. This is technology. How do we balance the benefits of technological advancements with the potential risks to privacy and personal freedoms?
Ooh,
Dan?
that's tough. All right, so I'm a big believer. What was it? What am I trying to think of? Who said that? Somebody said, if you pick security over liberty, you will neither have liberty nor security. Benjamin Franklin?
Perhaps.
Is that who said that?
Sounds smart enough to be.
Take a
Franklin.
look, Mike, if you get a chance over there while you're thinking about your celebrity that you want to sit down with.
Okay.
Actually, I have a good idea what Mike would say
Okay.
for celebrity.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not going to say it,
Yeah. Okay.
but you're going to
Sure.
answer. You got to answer this before the show's over.
So, one of the fun things to do is you write it on an envelope. You write it on a piece of paper and put it in an envelope, right? Mike?
I'm going to answer the question
Don't
after
answer.
Dan gives us his homework assignment.
Oh,
Come on. I got part of it.
Yeah, it could be never. Okay. So I'll take the first shot on this answer, right? How do we balance? You don't. Okay, that's my answer. You don't balance it. Technology is, man. There's so much driving tech, right?
Yes.
Like whether it's in pursuit of the dollar or if it's in pursuit of security or an advantage, right? You're never going to suppress tech. And look at all the wonderful stuff that's happened to us with tech, right? Electricity. That's great. Freaking electricity is awesome. Vaccines. Differential
Transportation.
differential calculus.
You can see somebody,
so much stuff.
a relative
Yeah.
in New York today.
Right. Antibiotics, right? Like, back in the day, you scrape your knee, you could die, right? You get an infection and you die. And, okay, so these things, they have two sides to them, though, right? Like, nuclear power. That's wonderful. Light up the world. Endless supply of energy.
Or light up the world.
Kill millions of people, right? I'm just saying you don't balance that stuff. Tech is going to find a way. It's like Jurassic
Park. Hell
Totally.
yeah. That's a
Life
good
will
quote.
find a way, and
Life
tech
will
is.
find a way.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff Goldblum. Right, that guy would be great to have dinner with.
He would. Actually,
yeah,
he would
he'd be a hoot.
I'll send him a message to come on the podcast.
Yeah, right.
We'll have a podcast over dinner.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. So I'm saying you don't balance it. You accept the consequences. You accept the fact that there is a price that's going to be paid for everything, and you enjoy the blessings of the tech. Yeah, sorry, privacy.
Pay the price.
Privacy, like what the hell? I mean, privacy. I
Don't
don't get it.
sacrifice
Like,
freedom.
Like these things are such moving targets. When you say, are you concerned about privacy? It's like, what do you mean by privacy? Are you concerned about the cost to benefit equation in tech advancement? You're like, what are you what do you mean? What's your frame of reference in even asking a question like that?
I also think-
I'm not disparaging the question, Mike. I'm using this to expand my.
Well, I
answer
would
here,
say
but
it's
yeah.
like you should have the freedom to choose whatever, right? So like, but then people can't go, well, I want my privacy. Yes, that's completely fine, but then don't use the tech.
Yeah,
To me,
fine.
because if you use tech, you are giving up. You're taking a risk.
my
And
wing,
I think a lot of times it's
my
worth it.
wingman, Dr. Paul.
Dr. Paul.
He's a total luddite.
Okay.
He's.
I think he said this too.
Yeah, like he said, I'm not going to get a cell phone because it's a tracker. I'm like, do you ever use a credit card? Do you have a driver's license? Do you ever purchase anything anywhere?
He told me he does not have a driver's license.
He does.
I'm
He's
just kidding.
lying
I'm
to
kidding.
you.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, he's.
Don't go after
and
Dr. Paul.
Yeah, he's like, it's an invasion of my privacy. I'm like, your privacy is non-existent. Your privacy is totally non-existent. If somebody wants to spy
Alex
on
is
you,
hammering.
yeah, man. I
everybody
think
today.
I think our concept of privacy is total BS.
I think so too.
Okay.
I think I don't want my neighbors staring in my window the whole entire time. But other than that, I
So what
don't
do you
care
do?
about like.
So what do? You close the curtains, okay?
Or go out there and brawl.
Right.
You got options.
We've got a lot of options, right? Like, there's one thing, like privacy is one thing, right? So keep to yourself. Don't be a target, right? Draw the blinds if you need to. Keep a low profile. Those are good things, but that is a whole different thing than like having spy cams and facial recognition
doesn't
software
this-
and stuff like that.
Doesn't this
Yeah.
play into the needs of the few and the needs of the many?
It does.
Because if we were looking at it from a privacy angle, the more data that is accumulated on what people do, the better tech can move and the better society can move.
Yeah.
So really, everyone should give up all of their data. I don't know if that's, I'm just saying theoretically.
So you already have. If
True.
anybody is interested in collecting data on you, they already are.
Yes.
Okay. And I look at myself and I think I got to be the most boring person in the world. Anybody that's collecting data
I don't
on
think
me is
anybody-
going to be like, this guy's a total waste of time, man.
They
I
probably
don't-
spend most of their resources on the McClung household.
I doubt it. But you know
That's
what?
what I
If they
think.
do,
Whoever they are.
if they do, they're going to learn some interesting things, but they're going to be bored a lot of the time, right? Like, hey, Brenda, good morning. What do you want to have for dinner tonight? I mean, that's the kinds of conversations we have. And
But they're also going to be listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
They're going to listen to you in the gym.
yeah. So here's the thing, right? You want back to our create a better society. Yeah. If you want to be a citizen, there is a cost. Citizenship. Okay, now I'm going to go. You did not ask
Oh, I
this
like
question,
this.
right?
No,
Mike?
this is good.
But citizenship should not be an entitlement. It should not be a birthright. Citizenship, in my opinion, should be something that is earned, and the benefits of citizenship should be vast, and the cost should be high, right? Okay, so like, how do you become a citizen? Yeah, go serve in the military. That's a great answer right there. Do an incredible act of technology or science. Create an extraordinary work of art, and or represent your country as an athlete in the Olympics, and then you're doing something for your society. You're giving. You're giving richly. You're making sacrifices, and society should recognize that and reward that. But if you're not a citizen, man, I don't think you should. I mean, you shouldn't be penalized in that sense, but
You just shouldn't get the benefits.
Yeah, and the benefits should be awesome, right? Like, okay, so I go to a church right now, right?
I mean, that's something I want to write down.
It's not my idea. Go read Starship Troopers by Robert Heinlein.
Starship Troopers like the movie.
Yeah, but it's not like the movie. The book is not about the book and the movie are two different stories allegedly doing the same thing.
Are there aliens who assaulted walls?
Totally.
I'm gonna read it.
But that's Heinlein is not easy to read, right? And Starship Troopers is his most
You're
inaccessible
saying that
book.
I can only read picture books.
No, no, you said that. but yeah, I mean, the whole premise of the book is
Insulting Dan does not feed the needs of the many. Maybe it does.
Maybe it advances dance technology.
Ooh,
I
fair
don't know.
enough. Fair enough.
Right?
Fair enough.
No, seriously. Yeah, it was a fun movie. Okay, great. It was a really fun movie, and I liked it too.
It reminded me of StarCraft.
But it is
a great game.
the book. The book is it's all about what is citizenship.
Okay.
Okay. So there you go.
Interesting.
I don't know. I don't even remember the question now.
That was a great answer, Alex. You're freaking on fire.
What was I
I'm
supposed to
glad
look
this is
up?
not score kept. I'd be getting murdered right
What was I supposed to look up?
now. Alex's destiny.
I don't know.
You're supposed to answer the celebrity thing, which I do know. I have a good idea. And then number 2, which was actually number 1.
Was
I
it
have
the
no-
needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few?
Yeah, that
Oh
was
no
the
no no no!
That quote?
No, the quote was.
Okay.
The quote was, "If you choose those who choose security over liberty, are neither getting liberty nor security." Something like that. It's not exactly it's paraphrased, and I do believe it's Benjamin Franklin. I do believe the year was 2021.
I am listening.
No, Dan.
I am paying attention. You're like Stitch. You're just trying to like stir shit up.
That's
Right?
that's why I love him.
Agent of Chaos.
I would say that if I had to pick 2 role models, which I have picked, 2 people I fashioned my life after, Stitch, Curious George. Perfect.
Yeah. That's a tagline,
That is a tagline.
right? Okay.
Okay, let's answer his. Yes, Benjamin Franklin said those who would give up essential liberty
Yeah.
to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. So
And
kinda-
Benjamin Franklin was a fairly smart fella.
Yeah. You know what? I like. He might be fun to have for dinner.
He could be.
Yeah.
I'd have no idea what his personality was like. I'd imagine he'd be kind of eccentric. You know what I think of when I think of Benjamin Franklin? The exact image that goes in my head
What's
is
that?
the guy from Back to the Future, which is probably not accurate in any way. I
He
don't know
was-
why that.
He was smart as hell. He was ambitious.
Are you talking about Back to the Future or Benjamin Franklin?
Franklin.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, here's another book then. All right.
All
Here's
right.
a book that I want
I
you to
like
read,
this.
Dan. All right, since
I just finished a book, so I'm. I
and
need a
it
new
wasn't
one.
even a picture book.
It
right?
was not. Yeah.
Okay.
good.
The autobiography of Benjamin Franklin. It is freaking classic, right?
What was he? So all right. So continue. Tell me what he was like, and then I will try to. Read
Okay,
it.
so he was a reluctant revolutionary. He was a self-made man. He taught himself. He was an autodidact. He was
Oh,
a
yeah.
a polymath.
Okay.
And he eventually was the guy that the Americans, the Continental Congress, sent to France to help negotiate how to neutralize England during the war. And like one of the best things that could happen would be is if England or if France recognized the United States as a nation, right? And so that's what he was there for, right? He was trying to get money from the French, which he did. He was trying to get political support, which he did. He was trying to neutralize the English, which he did, alone.
Damn.
And largely without
Gave him the old pitchfork, the 3-pronged attack.
and largely without any like guidance, right? Because like talking back and forth was a 6-month process, right? I write a letter, I put it on the ship, it sails across the ocean, they read it, they think about it, they write a response, they put it on a boat, they sail it across the ocean.
Lord, have you-
and like
It's like one of those things where like you send a text message or send an email, and you're sitting there like nervously waiting a reply. That's like 7,000 times worse.
yeah.
With the
And he did
talking
it.
about the needs of the many at
And
stake.
he did it. That's the cool thing. All right. So there you go.
Well,
What's
son
next?
of a bitch.
Did you even answer the question?
I answered every question I
Okay,
needed to.
great.
No, wait, what was
Next.
the question? Oh, the technology one?
Yeah.
Yeah, we killed it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
We're on it.
Yeah.
What's next, Mike?
do you want to do any shout outs? Because
That's why I did that quote.
I
I'd
don't-
like
I-
to shout out CNA
you're
Auto,
almost out of time.
as I always do, because my great friend Adam owns it, who is recovering from a little bit of a bike accident. Hurt
Right.
some ribs.
Yeah.
Doing a sweet trick, though. Had to show the kids what was up, and I respect that. Anyway, see my friends at CNA Auto. If you have any issues with your car, whether it's general maintenance, something's going on with the engine, something going on with the tire, you hear a weird noise and you're worried about it, some kind of light comes on, you have no idea what to do, CNA Auto They will take care of you right here in Eldersburg, Maryland, across the street from Mad Lab Performance, CNA Auto.
Great. So I'm going to shout out to 2 companies, all right?
Okay.
And I'm a Buy It for Life guy. I love Buy It for Life products.
Okay.
I am wearing, under these Blundstone boots, which are probably 25 years old, they're on their 3rd sole,
Bless them.
Darn Tough socks.
Darn Tough.
I'd like to shout out to Darn Tough socks, right?
That's the company, Darn Tough.
Darn Tough.
That's cool.
And they have an unconditional lifetime guarantee on their products.
On their socks.
On their socks. Can you believe that? So Darn Tough socks, and it works. They say, if you put a hole in these socks, we will replace them for free, right? It costs about $25. I've got a pair that's 10 years old. I beat the piss out of them. They are worn out, and I have sent them back, and they are in the process of replacing them.
That is wild.
That's the first one. The second one is, Dan, do you know what this is?
That's a bucket hat.
That is a Tilly hat. Right?
Tilly
It doesn't
hat.
quite fit over the headphones, right? Guaranteed for life, insured against loss. Tilly Endurables. There it is. Guaranteed for life, right?
The Tilly hat.
You wear that thing out, they will replace it. Good luck. That's all I can say. Good.
Tilly hat.
The
Look at
Tilly
that,
hat.
Mikey.
That hat is probably 20 years old. And I mean, it's not stylish by any means, but it keeps the sun off my head. It keeps the rain off my head.
Got some nice air holes.
It's got some nice air
Speed
holes.
holes.
Speed holes. High speed, low drag. So I'm giving a shout out to anybody that produces a product that is unconditionally guaranteed for life. Like, wow. And
That's a tough thing to put.
like, how do you, like, okay, so many products. They're like, okay, great. This thing's going to, either it's going to fall apart in 5 years, or we're not going to do software updates in 5 years. Therefore, it's even before we put it on the market, we know how we're going to take it off the market, right? Okay, that's cool. But, I mean, that's important for technological advancement, right? But when it comes to stuff like that, I don't know how you grow a business like that, but I do know that you can have a very sustainable business this way. And, you know, they grow their business by people like me shouting out their products. So, Darn Tough Socks, Tilly Endurables. Okay,
Tilly
there you go.
Endurables.
There's my shout-outs. I'd also like to shout out to producer Mike, who makes the magic happen here.
Oh, the magic happened.
Right, producer Mike, the guy you never see on screen, but the guy whose voice comes from on high, occasionally challenging us, always connecting us. And that's awesome. Thank you, Mike, for
Thank
everything
you,
you
Mike.
do. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Are there any other questions?
Yeah, do you think we got one more? We have time for one more if you guys don't talk forever.
We would never.
What's a food that you absolutely can't stand and why?
Eggplant.
I feel
I
like
just don't
Why?
like. I don't like
Why?
the. I don't like the texture. I don't
eggplant
know.
is kind of a weird texture. You know, so I'm gonna go two ways with this. All right, because it's gonna lead into. It's almost like, what word do you hate? And I'm gonna give a word and a phrase.
Uh-huh.
Right. So I would say leaves. I don't like leaves. I don't like iceberg lettuce. I don't like romaine lettuce. I don't like spinach. I don't like kale. I don't want any of those things. I've eaten a lot of leaves in my life, and I hate them. And you make salad with leaves, and a famous man, really famous man, once said, "You don't make friends with salad."
What?
Homer Simpson said that,
Oh,
actually.
yeah, he's famous.
And then he sung about it.
Wow. I learned something today. Dan doesn't like salad.
I hate it.
You know, I'm going to go back to an earlier question. You know, a person that I would love to have dinner with,
Who's that?
Dan Gilbert, because he has never made risotto before,
I've never made risotto.
and I
before.
want to teach him how to make risotto, and it's not a leaf. So I think we're gonna.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Oh, well, risotto sounds very interesting to me.
Yeah. Hey, producer Mike was saying we're almost out of time. I feel like we just sat down.
I feel like we just sat down too. I could do another
Well, wait,
17
he
hours.
didn't finish what he started.
What did I start?
You said a food you don't like, a word you don't like, a phrase you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't said it. What are the?
No. So the food was.
food is leaves.
Yeah, it's like the word. So that's leaves. Phrase would be like combination words like salad. See the analogy there? It's pretty clever, I feel like.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we've had enough.
But
Okay, so-
leaves are also, or not leaves, but like lettuce in general, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that most like food poisoning cases are because of lettuce.
Well, I think we need to get our.
Dirty leaves.
I think we need to get our fact-checking interns assigned
we
to
do.
that
We do.
one.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not, but
Leading
it's pretty
cause of-
close to true, I think.
Leading cause of food poisoning. I don't know.
Leading cause of whatever you want to say, like food sickness or whatever. I
That's-
believe that's it. And then also chicken. If you're looking at meat.
You know.
But I love chicken.
I came today with the clipboard of woe
All right.
right here, and I had a topic I wanted to talk about today, and we didn't. All right, but I want to tee it up for next time, right? And the topic is the answer is yes. All
To
right?
me, the answer is always yes.
It's not. It's not. But we'll talk about it. That's a
I'm a
different.
big yes man.
I know you are, but you're not. You're not a big yes.
I'm not a big
man.
yes man at all. No, I need a yes man. Mikey.
Yes. Oh, what, man?
Alex, it's been amazing.
Dan, I always enjoy sitting down and having a chat with you.
You're a true hero, my friend.
I'm just a regular guy. I'm actually, I'm nobody.
That is hardly true. But where are we headed?
We're heading straight to the top, Dan, because
Straight
it's
to the
time
top,
to
baby.
win.
Time to win.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.